Hi, I'm Jane Mizrahi. I am a licensed independent clinical social worker and a registered yoga teacher in the School of Trauma Cooperative Yoga. And I was asked to do a piece on self-esteem, another really large topic. Let's give it a try. I'm starting standing up as I'm getting used to my new vlogging kit, and I can't figure out how to go from sitting to standing. So bear with me. Okay, so self-esteem. So one of the things that I teach in my work as a therapist is about neuroplasticity, which is a word that demonstrates the ability for our brain and our nervous system to change. And the way the nervous system and the brain changes is with practice, practicing new ways of living, new ways of being. And self-esteem is messaging starting out from others. So for instance, we were all children once and we heard messaging from our parents. Perhaps that we were the greatest of all time, perhaps we were the worst of all time. Perhaps judgments of how we showed up, our body, our beliefs. And self-esteem is something that's initially learned. So as you show up here today, welcome to the present moment. What would it be like if you were willing to unlearn those messages? Perhaps you've already started. So living your best life, living your life according to your truths, develops self-esteem in the present moment. So all of a sudden, it isn't about messaging from the past or what we call introjects, but rather positive messages from ourself to ourself, because we know our value. The ticket here, though, is that when we make choices that don't speak to our values of who we want to be, when we make other choices, we reinforce perhaps more negative messages. So how we choose to live our life at any given moment can help develop our self-esteem. So slowing down our choices, managing our emotions, allows us to think, keeping our brain online, is this a yes, I want to do this? Or is this I don't think so? And if anything is an I don't think so, we pull it back and we don't do it. So we begin to make our own choices. Is this for me? It's not about what is for you. And I took out my hula hoop. It's a weighted hula hoop, so when I use it, you'll see that I may say it's getting heavy. The hula hoop is a metaphor for boundaries. And when we live a self-esteem of others and what other people told me, we're letting other messaging inside our hula hoop, our space, our boundaries. I'm really inspired to do the hula hoop, but I won't. I'm pretty good at it. I'm going to put it down now. So how can we make our choices in the present moment according to our values? And that is slowing down, getting the body and the breath online in the present moment, and knowing what is right for me. So what does that look like in the body? So I'm separating my feet hip width apart. So join me, please. And I'm putting a gentle bend in the knees. And I'm beginning to raise my arms up to the sky. What if even this feels a lot? What if my self-esteem is so low that I am inspired to just bring my hands to my shoulders and stay here? You might stay here. You might bring your arms up to the sky with a gentle bend in the knee. Self-esteem lives in the body as my spine feels erect. My chin is parallel to the universe. My eyes are straight ahead. And I say to myself, be true to yourself and live your best life just in this moment. We have one moment, one breath at a time. I'm separating my legs, please join me. And I'm taking one leg forward. So I know you can't see my feet, and I am sorry. My front foot is facing forward. My heel is intersecting my back foot. Many of you know this posture as warrior. My arms are at shoulder height. My fingertips are engaged, and now I'm facing toward my front foot. The warrior is a metaphor for may I live my truth, the warrior of truth. So let's stay here for a moment. If this feels like a lot, because keeping our arms engaged, we need strength. So developing these muscles in this moment is a goal, and yet we can bring our hands to our hips as a boss person. Breathe here in through the nose, and then go back and forth with arms up and engaged, gazing forward, or hands on hips for a break. You choose what is right for you. We're beginning a self-esteem journey as we say, I have a right to choose what is right for me in this moment. What is your truth? And I'm putting my front hand on my thigh and raising my back arm up to the sky, and I'm gazing up. There's a lot of activation here for me. So I'm moving my attention to my feet, and I'm grounding my feet on the floor. The grounding of my feet on my floor is messaging. I can find the energy I need from the earth to hold me in this moment and live my best life. And I'm bringing my arm back. My both arms are back up, shoulder height, and I'm beginning to pivot the other way. So let's talk about pivoting. With yoga, we do left and right. But in this case, I'm going to teach them an idea of pivoting. Breathing through the nose, gazing out over my front arm. Let's stay here for a few breaths. Again, you can use the energy engaging your hands, or bring your hands to be a boss person here and say, this is okay, this is what I need right now. So just go back and forth in warrior truth, either arms out or on your hips. Pivoting is when we decide at any moment, I need to change course, even if it's 1 degree. So I'm gazing forward and I'm thinking, what does that actually mean? So if we say yes when we mean no, we're not going to honor self-esteem because we're pushing ourselves harder than we need to. So my hands are getting tired. I'm bringing them back to my hips and I'm facing forward. You might join me. My feet are going a little bit inward, so they're still greater than hip distance apart. And I'm exploring what it's like to just rock my hips. And because my feet are facing a little bit inwards, I'm feeling a lot of movement in my muscles. So let's go back to pivoting. Pivoting is the invitation to ask yourself, is this right for me? So now I'm going to do circles with my hips, and I'm moving my feet to be straight. And I'm using hip energy. I'm doing clockwise now, and I will do counterclockwise when I'm ready. Please join me. Is something right for me at any given moment? And as I begin to answer the question, yes or no, I'm living my best life, not your best life for me, but what is right for me. And guys, we're not supposed to know the answer to that. We have to ask, and we have to sit quietly. So I'm walking my feet back to hip distance apart, and I'm raising my arms up again. And I'm bringing my right heel up, and I'm going to come into a tree pose, which is a balance pose. Why balance? Because at any given moment, we're looking for balance. You are going to go in and out of balance. Woo! Find your balance here. Your foot can go toward the ankle, the knee, or higher up. Soft gaze in front of you. Messaging to the self, find your truth and pivot toward it. If the answer is no, I'm too tired. If the answer is yes, I'd be delighted, go toward your truth. Self-esteem comes when we live our truth. Bringing my hands down to my hips, dropping my foot, shaking my body out, and I'm going to go to the other side for another balancing pose. So now my left heel is up, and it's coming to the ankle, the calf, or above the knee. I'm finding a gaze on the floor. I'm finding my balance. Self-esteem comes from honoring thyself, honoring your truth. And when we falter, I'm bringing my hands to my heart and my belly because we falter. We are human. When we falter, we find our balance again. We begin again, my friends. We begin again because life is about falling and getting up. And we did a piece on forgiveness. I'm putting my foot down because that is what I needed, and I'm meeting my truth, and I'm bringing my hands to my hips and boss. Life is a journey. And as you discover where your values lie, where your truths lie, and you don't take on other people's truths and don't make their decisions about you. So if somebody says to me, you're a terrible YouTube vlogger or blogger or whatever I am, I would be hurt. And my self-esteem would dip. But I would get quiet. So I'm going to come closer to you now. So join me in seated. I would take your feedback from me, and I would say to myself, Jane, have you done something to disappoint? Have you done something to hurt? If I have, I would pivot. I would take responsibility for that decision and pivot. If I evaluate and in all truth realize, you know what, I'm not for everyone. I can't be and I don't want to be. I mean, there's a part of us want to please everyone. Impossible. Never gonna happen. So I say to myself, Jane, you're doing the best you can. You're showing up as a human being in service to others. If this isn't for everybody, go find your YouTube vlogger. It's okay. It's not about me. I am not for everyone. So all of a sudden, I don't make your opinion of me about me. But I want your feedback if there's something I could learn. Like I got feedback that somebody that follows me didn't like when I used my large headphones. I get it. They were kind of comfortable and didn't even occur to me that I was wearing them. I might use them again and I might not. That was her opinion, and it was good information. So I store it. Good information. Do I want to use it again? My self-esteem, my friends, and your self-esteem is about coming into your truth and living your truth. And we can't do that if we don't self-evaluate and pause and ask ourselves, how am I doing? We might do that daily. We might do that weekly. But we have to ask the hard questions to get the important answers. So meet me at seated as we begin to close. Let's rub our hands together in honor of our self-esteem. And I'm inspired to begin to just sweep my body, starting with my head. And I'm sweeping into the crevice of my neck, both left and right, to release the tension and the stress and the introjects, the messages from others. Your opinion of me is not about me, that is about you. And I'm sort of sweeping. Oh, hi, that was my microphone. So I'm hoping you're still here. As I sweep, I'm now rubbing my hands together and I'm doing a self message. So you know how I like to draw circles on my heart of self-love, tapping into my greatest self, the child within, the person within that deserves a birthright for wellness and to show up as my best self. This is a journey. It is one breath and one day at a time. I'm massaging my belly because there's all those nerve endings in the belly, and I'm really putting some pressure as I do that. And I'm beginning to close now as I bring my hands together with my thumbs to my sternum. I'm pressing my hands together. My fingertips are together. My elbows are raised in honoring of this moment, in honoring of self-esteem. The light and honor of self-esteem, the child within that is well and good and love, honors you, my friends. The self-esteem within you that is there and waiting to be tapped into at any given moment. Being your best self, being enough, being love. That you are. Namaste.